Why are they killing us? Why are they destroying us? 3 10-storied buildings were burned completely. People are sitting in the basement. There is no sewers there. Plastic tubes started burning. One bay of the 10-storied building crumbled. 19 people dead.
This is 69-year-old Valentina, and there are thousands more Mariupol residents like her. They are asking the same question: why are the Russian troops killing civilians and destroying the city? It is practically surrounded by the Russian army. Almost all buildings are destroyed. The battle for control of the city has come at a horrific cost to trapped and starving civilians. Russian troops have maintained the blockade in Mariupol since the early days of the invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy on Saturday said that the situation in Mariupol was inhuman and called on allies to provide heavy weapons in order to liberate the city from Russian forces.
Ситуація в Маріуполі залишається максимально жорсткою.
The situation in Mariupol remains as severe as possible, just inhuman. This is what the Russian Federation deliberately did and deliberately continues to destroy cities. It is deliberately trying to destroy everyone who is there in Mariupol. There are only 2 ways to influence this. Either our partners will give Ukraine all the necessary heavy weapons, planes and, without exaggeration, immediately, so that we can reduce the pressure of the occupiers on Mariupol and unblock it, or a negotiation path in which the role of partners should also be decisive.
The occupiers are shelling literally everything: residential buildings, medical facilities, and even maternity hospitals. Doctors cover the newborn Ukrainians with their bodies and hide behind a strong wall inside the building as far from the window as possible. Patients and doctors in hospitals also try to hide in the corridors during attacks and already know by the sound what weapons are being fired at them.
Is that from the aircraft?
That's from the aircraft. Yeah, I guess so.
Explosions in the city have not stopped since the first day of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. While the Russian military is shelling the city with both artillery and aviation, the Ukrainian military is trying in every way to help the residents. Often the wounded had to be taken to hospitals literally under enemy bullets. And after each such attack, Ukrainian rescuers remove the debris and rescue people from under the debris. And this is how it has been since the first day of the war, since February 24, throughout March and until now. If there is still even the slightest possibility for Ukrainian services in the city, which is surrounded and partially overrun by the occupants. According to the mayor of Mariupol, there is almost no place left to live in the city.
The scenes that are going on in the city now, the fact that Russia destroyed 90% of the infrastructure, bombed hospitals, bombed shelters, innocent residents of Mariupol, and we believe that more than 21,000 have died. We consider all this shelling and bombing as war crimes. It is our principal position.
Mariupol is a big city by European standards. Before the war, more than 500,000 people live here. The largest metallurgical plant in Europe, Azovstal, worked in the city, and the international sea trade port was functioning. But now the streets of the city are in ruins. The buildings are damaged and destroyed. The city is empty, and the bodies of those innocently murdered by the Russian world lie on the roads. Most of the city residents who remained in their homes are forced to cook on campfires in their yards. There is no gas and no electricity in their homes. There are also children playing in the yard, in the same environment. There are destroyed cars and, worst of all, graves right in the yard, because people simply couldn't bury their relatives who were killed as a result of hostilities caused by the brutality of the occupiers. 21,000 civilian residents had been killed during the siege of Mariupol. More than 100,000 people still need to be evacuated urgently from the city, and 60,000 were awaiting evacuation in the suburbs. Satellite images show the movement of Russian military vehicles toward Mariupol. In some parts of the city, their tanks drive defiantly through the streets, and in the suburbs, the occupiers just shoot from cannons. Azovstal, a largest metallurgical plant, has become an outpost of Ukrainian military, who are heroically resisting the occupiers' attempts to take over the city completely. At the same time, the occupiers do not give up their attempts to destroy the Ukrainian military and mercilessly destroy Azovstal at the same time. The Russians says Azovstal they would be in full control of Mariupol, the linchpin between Russian-held areas to the west and east. Reported by Roman Smoler, UATV.